apology, but no apology. But yeah, that's what's so cool about this channel.
Oh, that's awesome.
But for everyone who's watching, welcome back to another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network. My name is Sanch, your host, and we have Gary Turner with us. Gary, how you doing?
Very good. Just a day and a half after the show, so just eating a little bit and I had some junky food, but then even right before the show, it was like chicken and cashews. I try to keep it.
Mhm.
I've been doing this for a long time, so I don't really get the novelty of eating like cake and cookies for that long.
Right.
You feel like shit after. So you
Right.
get it out of your
Yeah.
system the day after the show, and then it's back to business.
Okay. You're not one, are you one of those guys that has like those big monster cookies after the shows?
I have brownies like that, and
Ooh.
I didn't get them until after prejudging was done because I don't like being one of those guys who focus on, you're supposed to be getting ready for the show, you're supposed to be focusing on the show, and here you are researching junk food. So the real question is, are you just trying to do the show and get to the end of prep because you want to eat and eat junk, or do you care about how you're placing and how this show goes? So,
Mm.
but my friend owns the company. He had a table at the show. So after the judging was done, I went over to him and I bought some, support his company. Of course, they're great. And, of course, I didn't have them until the finals were over. But I had them for afterwards. But yeah, they're big. I still have not gotten through anywhere close to finished with them. But
Wow.
I'm not like eating them throughout the day. I eat them for dessert. Like tonight, I'll go out with my family, and then I'll have it for dessert. I just can't binge like I once did, like when I was 22, and then I was like 80 pounds up in like 8 weeks. So it was like
That's me.
that's not good to do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm there. Like I feel like you were preaching to me because after my last show, I put on like 60 pounds in like I don't know 3 months, and it's like as a
Mhm.
natural lifter, like that's not good.
Yeah,
So, and I'm finally getting that weight off now.
everyone in the beginning makes that mistake.
Yep.
Like I didn't eat a bodybuilding meal for 2 weeks after my first show. I remember going to like McDonald's and having like a McFlurry pre-workout, and it like, of course, it like reacted, and you look great in the gym. You still have low body fat, and everyone's like, "That's not going to do that forever," and it didn't, and it caught up to you. But the I remember sitting up in the dark after the show, just binge eating on everything, and that when you get experience with enough preps under your belt,
Mhm.
that stuff goes away. That tendency
Okay.
goes away. I have cheat meals throughout my entire prep for the way it was going this time. So the novelty of food, I wasn't really deprived. I was
Mhm.
hungry at the end because my metabolism was on fire. So I wanted food, but it wasn't like, oh, I haven't had a cookie in 3 months. I did have cookies, but on specific times,
Mhm.
that for me it was Saturday night,
Yeah,
until the
structured.
structured and until the very end, and then they went away. But that's okay. It was like literally like a week out. Um, and some coaches aren't like that, and they will just deprive you. And sometimes it's needed. Sometimes the coaches are just being overly strict, and
Mhm.
they don't know their athlete, and they can actually fuck up their athletes like relationship with food,
Right.
um, and make them. These guys might follow because they have the end goal of the show, which is great. But then it's they're going to react to this freedom afterwards, and I don't react that way. I had my post meal after the show was just, it looked like a cheat meal. It was like a cheesesteak. It was like a cheesesteak, another kind of like lasagna type wrap,
Mhm.
and a little bit of the brownies. And then I went to sleep, and it wasn't like crazy. And then I had a big breakfast with like pancakes and breakfast sandwiches and stuff. And then I was back on like chicken and rice throughout the
Right.
day. And then I had like another cheat meal, which had some, last night, some pizza. There was like a burger or something like that. And then today is, I'm not training, so I woke up and I had some ground beef, eggs, and egg whites. No carbs there, and like I'm just programmed like that at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's different for everybody. I try to encourage people to get it out of their system, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have every junk food. It will always be there. There's
Right.
there's times to say you don't need to eat the whole box of cereal. You can, in the few days after the show, schedule that as your post-workout carbs. Take your whey protein, mix it into the cereal. Cereal is actually not bad to have right after your workout. It's a quick sugary carb, good spike in blood sugar, and it's not a bad time to have it. I mean, most people think of cereal in the morning, which is kind of not a good time to have sugar. So I kind of use those things to fulfill like desires to have it, yet still make it constructive in a bodybuilding sense.
Right. I mean, Gary, you touched on a lot of good stuff there. The relationship with food. I feel like a lot of people, once they start removing certain food groups, or just they stick to like, I'm kind of like a robot. So like, I like my 4 foods, like my 4 different things, but that definitely messes you up if you don't know what you're doing post show. Because I've never had a good, what do you call it? When you reintroduce food strategically after a show,
like a reverse diet.
Reverse dieting. Never done that. But that's the plan this year. But a lot of people don't do it.
I think that the idea and the terminology of reverse dieting came out because people don't know how to control themselves. So these coaches give it a certain name, and then they really structure these people. So like, you're only going to have 30 grams of carbs this week, then you can move it to 60 grams of carbs the next week, and then 90 grams. And it's like, but you're still dieting the guy. And the guy just dieted the whole time, and you're not really fixing his relationship with food in a manner that, like, is he okay? Is she okay mentally? Yeah. Are they even having fun doing this? It's one thing to not have fun during your prep because you're trying to get to a certain thing, but now you're done. Make sure that person can enjoy life a little bit. And so if there's a balance that you could find with it, and I don't think that giving them a few more grams of rice is the answer. Give them the cream of rice with the whey isolate pre-workout. That's a fun thing to have, and it's not bad for you. So, things like that. Give them the 2 Rice Krispie treats with their whey isolate shake post-workout. That's fun. They could look forward to it. Maybe you don't have to do it deep in the off season because they're a little bit heavier at that point, but right after the show, I just think that some people, they structure it. Now, there are that idea came out especially mainly because of bikini competitors, because they go off the deep end because they don't eat much going into prep to get they're small girls, so they're eating like 2 stalks of broccoli and like 3 ounces of fish for like every meal, and then like they're all fucked up, and then they go crazy after. Then they realize they don't like the way that they look because they're not shredded anymore. So they have 2 choices. Either they dive back into a prep, which is really bad. Their hormones or everything is in a disarray. Or they hate the way that they look because they're heavy or they're heavier. To us, they look good, but to them, they feel they're not stage ready, and they get depressed. And then the relationship with food is bad. And that's why, honestly, and I don't like picking on the bikini girls or singling them out, but you see it. There's like a 3-year shelf life because of this in the bikini division, because they have a really poor sense of relationship with the food, and they keep jumping back into prep because they don't know what to do with themselves after. Whereas like bigger divisions like women's physique, women's bodybuilding, even figure, the off-season look of being a little bit fluffier because they're trying to add muscle on it is more embraced. Those kind of women are a little bit more hardcore, so they like it. So they're a little bit more okay with like, being
they're comfortable
bigger,
with their body.
Comfortable with being bigger in the off-season, not being shredded because they know that they have a goal.
Right.
Like
they
that,
have
which is why
it's structured.
Why men's bodybuilding doesn't really get as much eating disorders, because we're trying to get huge in the off season. Yeah. And if we feel huge, we feel good. So, there are 2 sides of spectrums that we like being shredded. We like being huge, and whatever way we're going at the time, we're kind of happy climbing after that. And, so you see less of it there. Bikini, they just want to be shredded,
Right.
and there's going to be times that they're not, and you have to try to be okay with it. So I think that's where the reverse dieting came in. But I don't know. This industry is very interesting.
It is. Yeah. I'm still relatively new to the industry, so I'm still trying to figure out the ins and outs and what exactly is going on. But I think like the big takeaway as we kind of transition to the next topic is, I'm a big structure guy. I've been in the military for a decade now. So for my
Mhm.
life, I like to have, I might not always accomplish it, but like I like to have as much structure as possible. And I
Mhm.
think that the viewers watching right now, if what Gary's saying, and then kind of like how I live my life, if you want to get into bodybuilding and that's what you think you want to do, you need to have a plan, and it's not just a one prep plan. If you guys remember back when we had Ty Jordan on the show, he talked about him bringing in his new coach, and they had a 3-year plan of when they're going to have a show and when they're going to have off seasons, and then it was a big structure over a long period of time. So if you can incorporate that kind of concept into your we like to say battle rhythm here in the military. You can incorporate that into your battle rhythm. It's going to make you a better bodybuilder. It's going to make you a better person because you'll be able to plan ahead and you won't get caught up with what Gary's saying with these bikini competitors jumping right back into a show when they really shouldn't be.
Mhm.
So that's good. I like that. I know I've struggled with the reverse dieting because I guess I've only had one really good show so far, and I placed third, and I was so excited because like that was the leanest I've ever been, and
Mhm.
I'm six, almost 6'3", and I was 196 pounds, 195 pounds on stage, and
Mhm.
it was cool. Like I've never been that lean, and
Yeah.
I had so much fun. And then now
Mhm.
kind of looking into, I don't want to talk too much about me, but like now that I'm looking into doing Austin Carr's show in Vegas in
Yeah.
November, I want to do that one still as a natural. Just I want the judges to see what I look like and then do the research, figure out what I need to do to, go to that next level and then
Mhm.
do the same show the next year. Is kind of
Sure.
my
Yeah.
plan. But
Yeah. It's definitely the structure, and I don't mean day to day structure. Like you said, you had Ty on there, who I know Ty. To have that long of, I don't have a 3-year plan. My 3-year plan is hopefully to be pro and retired by that time.
there you
That's
go.
exactly what my wife wants to hear.
Yes.
But I am a forward thinker, and there are some people, because you know how a lot goes in for your support team and prep. They're tired now. They've
Mhm.
dealt with me and helped me through this entire time, but I got to kind of go easy on them. So I have plans for next year. I have
Mhm.
plans for 2023 when I'm a masters competitor, if I'm not pro at that point.
Mhm.
So I just don't run around and say, what we're going to do is we're going to do this. In 2023, we're going to do this, because these people are going to get overwhelmed. I let them have, I'm just keeping it to myself at this point, letting them chill out. They don't have to help me with anything. We're in the off season now. We're not getting ready for a show.
Yeah.
And especially my wife, she's on the front lines with me every day. Pictures this and this. He needs 8 ounces of potatoes, and so it's like I try to give her a break a little bit, so to not even like bombard her with some bodybuilding stuff. But you have to have a plan. I see some of these guys are like, well, I'm 6 weeks out of this show. I might hop in that show, and I'm like, 6 weeks out, I'm like basically at my hotel already, ready, like trying to train for this show at that point. 6 weeks out, I'm like ready to go. So I'm not like one of those guys who was last minute, let's
Mhm.
hop in the show type thing. I know which shows I'm going to qualify for. I know when I'm going to go back on cycle. I know when I'm going to start prep. So I'm just
Okay.
very planned like that.
You touched on your wife because I kind of want to get to know you a little bit more.
Mhm.
Who's your wife? How long have you been married? And
Mhm.
then like you talked about like with her and your food and in your prep, like how supportive is she with that? Because I
Mhm.
know you're an animal athlete, but you're also
Mhm.
an animal employee. So I'd
Correct.
love to hear that relationship of a passion and a profession.
Mhm. Yeah. I got married September 7th, 2013. So in a few days, it's going to be 8 years. So don't want to forget that.
Yeah,
I'll be
I
in
gotcha.
a lot of trouble if that happened. And My wife is very supportive. She is not a bodybuilder. She's never been a competitor, no interest in doing it. When I met her, she used to go to the gym frequently, 4 times a week to stay fit.
Mhm.
We have a 6-year-old son now, so she doesn't really get to the gym as much now. She a lot of the responsibilities dealing with him, she handles so that I can do, be at the gym when I need to and everything like that. So I'm very thankful for that. But I mean, from the cooking, the preparing, anything that she can do to help me, especially in prep,
Mhm.
to try to make it a little bit easier. Maybe if I could get to the gym a little earlier, so I can get to bed earlier, things like that. She's there. She's really became the eye. There's only one show that I did, my first show, that I didn't know her at the time. I met her a few months after the first show.
Okay.
So she's always known me as a bodybuilder. And it's a funny story. The first 2 weeks of just talking, we weren't even officially dating. I had a previous relationship of 5 years that we broke up because I wanted to be a competitive bodybuilder and that person did not support that. So I ended up saying, well, then we can't date. So 5 years down the drain. So I met my wife and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't the same thing. So I said, I'm going to be going to this bodybuilding show. It was a local show. And I said, do you want to come with me? And she said, sure. And I don't even really know if she knew what it was about, but she was willing to go. She wasn't turned off by it. I want to say she was into it, but she was like, she thought it was interesting. And
Mhm.
I knew that test was passed at that point, because if she was like, this is ridiculous, I would know, I probably wouldn't have pursued anything further because I just got out of a relationship because of that reason.
Mhm.
So I was looking for somebody who was supportive, of that. That's where I wanted to go. So I only she's seen all the preps go down, and so she knows kind of now. Your glutes need to be tighter.
Oh
You're a
wow.
little,
Okay.
you look a little flat.
And she's not
She
scared of saying that.
no,
Wow.
she will she'll let me more know, like, oh, you look better yesterday, or you look crazy today after you had that cheat meal the night before. So, I have a coach too that dictates what I eat, but she knows what she's talking about. She helps me pick out the music. There's times that I've suggested songs for poses. She goes, "That's not you. That doesn't fit your physique." I got If it's like a slow, like triumphant classical song, I always try to like work that into. That's not you.
Yeah.
You're a brutal physique. Pose to some hard rock or some metal or something that has very much attitude.
Yeah.
Where you can display your master shoes. Like, you're not going to be rolling around on stage like a classic competitor. It's not.
Yep. Yep.
It's not what you look like, and it's not your personality. So
No.
I'm like, she has that down. Um, and then, like you said, yeah, yes, I work for Animal and I'm sponsored. I worked for them first.
Okay.
Yeah, that happened. I was at a hardcore gym, Apollon Gym in Edison, New Jersey. It's where I grew up in. And the brand manager at the time for Animal came in. They had a customer service person leave. They were looking for somebody. They asked the owner of the gym, do you know anybody? They suggested me. I came in for an interview and I got the job. Since then, I was in 2013, by the way. So I've been there since then, in customer service and various other roles, marketing. I do all the social media writing. So
Okay.
anything that you see posted on their Instagram is all written by me.
That's
Uh,
cool.
so any of the hardcore, a lot of the labels I've written, if you see any of the, hardcore talk, down in the deep dungeon, and that's stuff that I wrote. So you know, it's it doesn't it's basically what I do in a regular life, in my regular life. It's not like I have like a work mode and then that.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand. I am Animal, so basically it's not like an act. Like you could hire a little old lady to answer the phone, but that's not going to be authentic. And we pride ourselves on being authentic. So
Mhm.
we have guys that train, guys that take the product, girls too, of course, and people that live the lifestyle, and that mindset. So I do that. Like I said, I'm a full time employee with them since then. It wasn't until 2018 where they reached out about extending the overall employment role to sponsored athletes. So that would be a different set of responsibilities, just like an athlete would.
Yeah.
And I handle that role as well. So, anytime that we have the animal barbell clubs where, we have the group lifting. We haven't really done them this year because of COVID, but hopefully soon.
Right.
But anytime like that, you can meet me and other athletes on there. I also do if you've ever been to the Arnold Classic, the animal cage,
Oh,
where they
sure.
do I MC it. So I'm on the
Wow.
microphone announcing, or I've announced, Steffi Cohen's 495-pound squat, her 545-pound deadlift.
Yep. Yep.
I've seen some crazy, crazy, crazy lifts in there. I've seen a 600-pound bench press by a guy that was 220 pounds.
Wow.
It was, it's just great being in the mix of everything with a company that's so well respected and big time in the industry.
Mhm.
To be able to and to be able to represent a company that I'm the same as. I don't think
Yeah.
I could go with one of these more techie companies with these fancy labeling, and we have the breakthrough of this, and I just like Animal is much more ruthless. And I'm sure you've seen my Instagram page. I'm sure the viewers who do know who I am have seen, I'm pretty I don't pull punches, and I tell it how it is, and with my writing and stuff like that. And that's basically what Animal is. It's very unapologetic. It's very authentic,
Mhm.
um, while still remaining humble and a brand of the people. I always started for myself be the man of the people, somebody who's on. We all lift the same weight.
Right.
We don't put anybody on a pedestal, and our athletes are expected not to act that way. We don't we don't like to do lines at the events. You shouldn't have to wait in line like a cattle, just in a conveyor belt to meet our athletes like there's somebody special. We just do a group of people. If you want to come walk up to me, come walk up to me. We can all talk like peers
Right.
and acquaintances, and that really works out, that way, because if you look at these other companies, they treat these guys like they're celebrities, and like a celebrity to fan relationship, and we don't. We're all lifters under that umbrella, and we're all the same. Some guys just have bigger muscles than others. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. Yeah. I like that. I've looked at Animal before. And I'm still trying to figure out like who I want to go with for sponsorship. Since the last company we stepped away from. Well, actually, that's on my personal side. For here at Bodybuilding News Network, that's kind of another interesting concept. Is like there's a show where I have lots of different people on, and then I have like my personal channel, which is completely its own entity. Um,
Mhm.
and like I've been trying to figure out like what I want to go with. Because I've been going with Black Magic for a while because I just love their taste. They're a
Mhm.
little bit more expensive, but I got my 20% codes, which is cool. And then recently I've been looking at my protein out of the UK, and their prices are just so ridiculously affordable. I was like, is this going to be something that the fans would want over something like maybe a little bit more hardcore than Animal? Like, that's, I guess that's what I'm asking you guys. Like, as a fan of the channel, like, what do you value more? Like something that's authentic, like what Gary's talking about, or something that's just like the bottom line, cheapest, well, not cheapest, but most affordable product. I've always had a difficult time like figuring out what would be a better fit as a brand versus like,
Mhm.
is it just a product,
Mhm. Yeah, I think that it really comes down to how the marketing is, and this what you're interested in. Now, some people are only interested in the product itself,
Mhm.
meaning what is this product? Maybe what's the price point? Maybe that's what their approach is on it, and that's fine if they're on a limited budget. If they
Mhm.
are only after taste, some people, and a lot of our customers are loyal customers because it's their subscription to our brand lifestyle that has them with us.
Mhm.
Our messaging behind it. We preach not only premium products, but we also preach a message that with all the characteristics that Animal is.
Mhm.
So that people align with that. There are other people who don't uh, really care about um, the morals or the ethos that a company is trying to put out there. They rather say, what is this pre-workout? What does it do? Is it going to get the job done? Okay. that
Mhm.
some people subscribe more to individuals, so they follow certain athletes, and whatever
Right.
athlete they go to, there goes to the company. That's a powerful thing now with social media,
Yeah.
um, that people don't subscribe to brands as much as they subscribe to certain people. So if one athlete leaves and goes somewhere else, his fans will go with
Mhm.
them. Some will stay, but that's just the nature of what social media was. Back in the day, you kind of picked a brand that you did, maybe when it was just magazines,
Mhm.
and you stuck with that brand because it was what you believed in. It's a little
Mhm.
different now, but um there's just different approaches to it. And I don't think there's one right and wrong way to do it either. It's just
Right.
how customers are programmed.
Hmm. It's interesting to think about. Yeah, because I don't hear like a much of a conversation about like the brand and their ethos and what they stand for. I've been doing supplement reviews for like 4 years now, so like I'm always like I'll even like I'm always just
Yeah,
trying like it's ungodly. But like yeah, I've never really looked at like what a brand really stands for. Because I guess I've
because a
never
lot of
been
them are
in
too
the environment.
small. Well, a lot of them are too small now, and a lot of them are just pop-ups.
Yep.
So their marketing is based upon the ingredient profile. That's one way to market it, but you better have the best ingredient profile if you are going to push that way.
Mhm.
Because your company name is going to be small, is probably going to be very generic.
Yep.
You're probably not going to be the manufacturer of it. It's probably just your labels. You select what you want. A third party manufactures it. You put
Yep.
the labels on there, and then send it on its way. There's not going to be much foundation built into the marketing like we had, and that's probably because we've been in business since 1977, when
Yeah.
there was only like four brands.
Right.
Nowadays it's very easy. You and I can make a supplement brand by the end of this weekend, and we would have to elevate it somehow. We probably would do what most brands do. They come out with some crazy pre-workout that kids can try. It'll
Yep.
light them through the roof. There'll probably be illegal ingredients in it, and everybody's like, dude, you got to try this guy's protein, this guy's pre-workout. It's crazy. I was going crazy in the gym, and then that's word of mouth. That's why pre-workouts is always a popular starter for
Mhm.
companies. The problem is you built no lifestyle in that. It's not like that, just takes too much time,
Mhm.
and people don't see that sort of thing. It's very hard to build that lifestyle or the connection rather than just the ingredients. And the problem with just doing ingredients, though, there's no breakthrough ingredients anymore. If
Right.
there was, they'd be made illegal. We know that. So
Every time.
everybody just has different combinations of L-citrulline, and then we got this or this, and we got agmatine in here, and it's they're all the same.
Yeah.
And so you're just out to try to find one. But I think that if you subscribe to the lifestyle of it, at least on our end, it can work out a bit better.
Mm.
That's what I found in the 8 years that I've been with the company.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, full transparency, like on my personal channel, I probably spent like $400 on like every Redcon product I could find because like I'm military, I lift. I'm like, this is a perfect fit. So I was like, why not go with Redcon? So I bought all this product and I have it in the back here. I don't show it because it kind of ticks me off, but like the quality was just garbage. Like I didn't enjoy the flavors. The blendability was really sucky. Like it was such a bad taste in my mouth, like emotionally, because I already invested it before I even tried the products,
Hmm.
because their marketing and their branding was so good. And then once I
Hmm.
actually tried the product, I'm like, I can't recommend this because like I don't even enjoy it. And then I've just been kind of stuck since then, trying to find a brand um, that I line up with because I'm military, I lift, I do bodybuilding competitions, but then like my real passion is this, like what I'm doing right now, talking with
Hmm.
the athletes online, doing the journalism piece. So
Hmm.
if there's a journalism bodybuilding brand, like I feel like that'd be a good fit, but that's a niche.
Yeah.
That's a niche in a niche.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now you're getting very, very selective.
It's gonna have a microphone on the protein powder. It's gonna be like
Yeah.
MC Way. um, Well, cool. I think that's so cool that you're sponsored and employed, or you're employed and then sponsored.
Yep.
Uh, like I mean, it's kind of difficult with the military because I move every 3 years. Um, to like find a local brand and then like build that relationship. I think that'd be really cool. So for everyone
Yeah.
watching, if you guys can do something like that, support local business, find a brand, something like Animal or a local business that you believe in, that's probably the best. It's probably the best decision for you.
Yeah, we notice the people who are loyal to the brand,
Mhm.
with when selected for brand ambassadors. Um, can't really say the athletes being like an actual sponsored athlete. We usually find that them, we usually know who they are and
Oh,
stuff
okay.
like that. But especially like a brand ambassador, we look for to see, do these people even use animal products, or are they shopping around sending the same email to every company because in 2021 everybody wants to be aligned with somebody,
Yep.
just for that validity that they and validation that they belong somewhere. Nobody wants to run
Mhm.
alone anymore because I don't know why, but everybody needs constant back rubs and reminders that there's somebody. And it's we look at it, has this person used all of our products? Have they been preaching, wearing our shirts for a long time? Like, all right, bring them on board.
Mhm.
They're good. They're good. They were a good ambassador before we were even you know uh compensating them.
Yeah.
Let's bring them on board, give them some requirements to do, and then we'll compensate them. And
Mhm.
then and that's how it goes with that. So I recommend that, like, with anybody who's listening, that is like, well, how am I going to get involved with a company? Line yourself up, let them know that you're doing all this stuff. Make your name a little bit, whether you're a frequent poster on their posts on Instagram,
Mhm.
YouTube, stuff like that. Tag them in things. What companies don't like to see is when you tag everybody. Like, if you tag us, Redcon, we know that you're just fishing. So and how to select that, you select based on where you think that you fit. Not
Right.
everybody's going to look at animal and go, man, I love that. Some people are
Mhm.
like, this is dumb. This is not who I am. I'm not somebody who subscribes to walking around a dungeon gym and being some creature in the shadows and stuff like that. That's not me. That's not me, and that's okay. Maybe you're more of like a techie type or like a high fancy type thing, and that's your thing. Then find a company that you think would work for you, and just go at it. But the companies want to see consistent work and what
Mhm.
you can do for them. People think that sponsorships, brand ambassadorships is just free shit. It
Mhm.
is a working relationship of obligations and a mutual agreement that I'm going to provide usually posts and whatever requirements that's dictated, and you're going to provide me some sort of compensation for that. And it's
Okay.
just as it's a mutual agreement. It's not free stuff that you're sending in the mail and I just go on my way.
Right.
So,
Right. It's a two-way street. It's a
yep.
conversation.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Man, I'm gonna I'm gonna have to rewatch this one. Take some notes. That's some good stuff. Wow. Um, let's talk about training. So you
Mhm.
just finished up the North Americans. It's not the
Yep.
Nationals. The y'all,
Yeah.
I've been getting roasted in the comment sections. Like, oh, okay, so this person's getting ready for the Nationals. It's like, no, that the Nationals is a specific one. I'm like, I thought they're
Yes.
all national shows.
They are all national shows, but the NPC Nationals, which is in December this year, it's in Orlando. It's
Mm,
usually in Miami. But that's the specific name of it. So the reason why people get that way about the name, and I have been one of those people, is
yeah.
because it's an old school mindset that you used to know that name, and then the newcomers to it, which we have an issue, like a problem in this industry with like noobs coming in, that a lot of them don't care, and they'll take all these names and they'll use the word nationals to portray themselves to their not knowing following, to make the
Oh, okay.
show look, they're just basically gassing themselves up.
Mhm.
If it's the junior nationals, they'll say, I'm getting ready for nationals in Chicago. So somebody else who doesn't know goes, oh, this guy's big time. He's getting ready for nationals. Now it's the junior nationals. It's much lower than nationals. It's the entry sort of show to the national level, and we want to make sure that the traditions of these names, because we learned all this stuff when we first came in, and I think that, and a lot of my preaching is pretty tough on the 18-year-old kids, because they don't give a shit about anything about tradition or history or anything like that. It's just about them and how to make themselves look good. And my thoughts on that is fuck that. Okay. You're gonna do it the right way, and you're gonna learn just like I learned. You're gonna learn where these locations are, and you're gonna have respect for all the winners and everybody who's ever competed in those things. So I understand why they got like you, but it's like, now you know. I mean, like,
yeah, I'm learning. I am every time I get roasted in the comment sections, I'm like, got it. All right, I'm putting that in a sticky note. It's on my monitor.
Yeah,
I will never make that mistake again.
Yeah, well, yeah, everybody learns. Some people, some people don't care, but that's how it is.
Yeah, no, I care. I care.
But it was North Americans. So that was open to Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Anybody in North America,
right?
And it was in Pittsburgh. It's always in Pittsburgh.
Yep, I know that one.
So, yeah. So I took seventh in the show. It was my all-time best look.
Okay.
Hands down. I knew that even going in that I was going to look my best. The placing was a little bit of a disappointment. It stung a little bit. I anticipated that I would do better than I did with that. I didn't know if I was going to win. I'm not one of those guys who go, I'm going to win at all costs, and second place is the first loser. I'm not like one of those type of people. But
okay.
That was the right is the USA, the left was the North American. So there's a bit of a difference there.
Yep.
And it was those shows were 5 weeks back to back. The after the initial sting of me not placing where I wanted to, it kind of went right. It goes back to, dude, you were at your best. Right. And that's just how it was, and I was fine after that.
Okay.
And I'm back to it. So it's that's how bodybuilding is. You go with it and you move on. You cannot dwell. That would not help at all.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that's cool. That you were happy with your placing, or you were happy with your package. Because I think I was talking with a couple other people, and they were like, hey, I'm coming into this show. This is gonna be the best I've ever done. Just looking at 1 day, 2 days out, and if they don't place where they think they might place, that's not something Gary can control. That's other competitors coming in, and the judges maybe having a preference on something versus something else.
Different lineup. It's a different lineup too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's it's nothing that you could have done differently. You can't control who shows up, so you just control what you look like.
Right.
And that's just how it goes. And what are you gonna do? Dwell on it?
Right.
Nobody's gonna remember that I took 7th place at the show.
Right.
By now, they're not gonna be like walking around there like in their lives like, man, if Gary just plays tight, they don't concern themselves with you like that. They don't care. So why would I dwell on that and not just get back to work?
Right.
That's where people go wrong a lot. They start dwelling on it because they almost out of like an egotistical sense, they think that people care. They don't care. Only you care, and you shouldn't anymore, because your placing is not indicative of how good of a competitor you are. It's just how you fared that day. It's not your value. It's not your value of your physique. It's just how you did that day, and that's it. So get your head out of your ass and go back to the gym and start improving again.
I like that. That's a good message. So what's your plan? What's your plan now? Well, tentatively, right? We're not making any solid 2-year, 3-year plans, but you said you took off like what, a day or two, and now you're back in the gym.
I trained the following morning.
I saw the picture and I was like, oh my god, I'm that guy, because my wife
at
yelled at me.
7:30. Yeah, I always do cardio the next morning, but I said, you know what, I couldn't go back to sleep, so I just ate a meal and then left, and then it was a very snoozer workout. It's full body.
Yep.
Yeah, I did 2 things for arms, I did 2 things for back, and then just moved around because I knew I was going to eat a lot. And then, and then that was it. I am definitely shut down for this year. That of course, and I planning tentatively doing something at the end of 2022. Meaning I'll start dieting around like July or August, and then go. I turn 35 in next October, so I turn 34 next month.
Ooh, what day?
25th.
Oh, okay. I was talking with Charles Curtis. I did an interview with him, and we both have October 6th as our birthday.
Yeah.
So I was like, bro, we're gonna celebrate at the Olympia. Like,
Yeah.
that was such a cool, like, random thing.
Yeah. So
babies.
I see myself definitely winning a pro card at a master show. It's just a matter of buying my time and improving, which I will, till I'm 35. So we're talking like a year and a month. The problem is that there's only one master show after October. So it's even though I'll be 35 at the end of next year, I'll miss all the ones that are in July, August. So I'll be 34. So I don't know if I will do it at something at the end of the year and do that master show. I don't know if I do something just in the summertime and just like, open, and then just wait for 2023 to run the gamut on all the master shows.
Okay.
I haven't really thought it out too far in advance with that, just because the only issue that I'm having is if I don't get the pro card at that last show in 2022 in the Masters, it screws up your whole 2023 schedule, because now you got to recover in the beginning of 2023, and then you have no off season because you're going to be into a prep, because the universe is in July. I think Masters Nationals is in August or somewhere in July also. Those preps have to start in February. You're still recovering from the show that you just did in December.
Yep.
How is that going to work? You're not going to look your best. So but what I don't want to do is I don't want to skip the whole year.
Yeah.
I like competing. I need a decent off season, but I don't need 18 months. I get large in the off season, and that's not my issue. So it's that's never my issue of like having to add. I do need to add more size to my legs. I need to definitely add size to the glutes and hamstrings.
Okay. I agree.
But I'm not overall like this guy needs to add mass everywhere.
No.
So taking off a long time isn't necessarily the best plan for me. But taking a substantial amount of time is necessary. It can't be like take off 2 months and then go back into prep. That's not good either.
Right.
So, we'll figure it. We'll figure it out. It's going to be something though. But once I can get into the Masters category, I think I could do it.
Relatively quickly.
Yeah, from a super heavyweight, 35 plus Masters. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. There's going to be a few good guys, but with my physique, I get conditioned. I'm big. I'm just not shapely at all. That's never been my thing.
Okay.
And I lose to a lot of shapelier guys that maybe aren't as lean as I am, but they're going to get the nod because their physique silhouette is just a lot better. And those guys tend to be younger, under 35. They flow nicer. So I kind of run into some issues at the pro qualifier stage with open. There's more guys that are like me in the Masters categories for the most part, that I think that if I could just out condition them, out brutally size it, that I will fare better. So it's just a matter of being able to get there, and I think that's just a better fit. It's just that I'm not 35 yet. So
right. Okay. And you mentioned that you wanted to get your pro card and then retire. Like, is it like a card and then you're done, or
It's a card and at least one show, or
one?
then it'll probably be one show, and then it'll be, because let me tell you something. I'm not delusional to what is. When you make it to the pro ranks, now you're in a whole set of different categories in
Mhm.
terms of more shapely guys, better shapely guys. And there's no amount of drugs that I could take that will override that.
Yeah.
And I'm very open about like what I do. It's like it's been a long time that I've taken things,
Mhm.
and I'm heavy in the off season. I'm 270. 270 for me is under control. I've pushed to 300 before, and that's
Wow.
not good. And there's a lot of stress on the body, and I'm getting older, and you don't want to be 35, 40 years old doing that,
Mhm.
because we see deaths frequently in this industry, and I'm not trying to be another one. So you have to be smart. It's the high body weight, it's the drug use, and it's where am I going to push when I'm pushing maximally right now.
Mhm.
So I would only do the pro show, probably the New York Pro, just because it's close to my house and my family can come, and to say he did the pro show, and I would expect nothing from that, and then they'll be done, and then I would start to shrink down.
Yes.
Like lose the mass into a healthy, athletic look, and be done with it, because I'm not trying to be another statistic on this whole thing. Chasing what would I be chasing? I can't make it. I have a torn pec, So for me, the pro card is the Mr. Olympia, even a Masters pro card. It would be a huge celebration if that, and a job well done. Your goal is accomplished. You're
Mhm.
at this point 11 years competing. You did what you set out to do, and that's enough. And I'm okay with that. It took me a long time to get to that mental state, because when I first started, I thought I was going to be Mr. Olympia. I didn't
Okay.
quite understand. I don't look like those guys now, but I will.
Right.
And you start to realize, like, man, you're pushing twice as hard as those guys, and they're just cruising on by. And then you start really learning about genetics,
Mhm.
that it's just the parents. Some of these guys drink regular soda while they're dieting, and they get more shredded than you are. It's like it's genetics. You can't beat it. But then you get to a point where you become okay with it.
Mhm.
Like, I'm doing everything, and then you refocus yourself into, this is a mental, this is a journey for me, and this is not just about winning bodybuilding shows. It's not about, I care very little about titles, except for just accomplishing my goal.
Mhm.
And that would just be a summation and a culmination of everything that I've done for the 11 years prior.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I have any ideas of grandeur for myself. I'm almost 6'3", 27, like probably not going to be a top pro. But I'd like to try. I'd like to see where my genetics can take me. Um,
Hmm.
the thing is, like, I have no idea what my genetics are, because like my whole family's like morbidly obese. So it's like
Hmm.
I'm the only person that's tall. I'm the only person
Yeah.
that's in shape.
Yeah.
Like, it's I'm starting at ground zero. So
Hmm. And I
2022
mean,
is going to be fun.
you've trained. It sounds like you've trained a long time naturally,
Yeah. Yeah.
which many people did. I didn't. It was for me maybe 2 years,
Mhm.
and not training like smart, just bro science training.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it was. I was a college kid, and made hasty decisions, and that's where we are now. But you sound like you have a lot more of like a methodical mindset, that you know what you're doing with training. You've done it more. You're not in a rush to anything. So I think that if you ever decide to cross over and go that path, you have a lot more knowledge, and you'll see much more gains than even I saw, in the beginning. So, don't count yourself out yet, but that's a
Uh-huh.
personal decision that you're going to have to make at some point. But
Yeah.
it could work out. It could,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, that's honestly that's the plan. Like I kind of talked about it in the beginning. I don't think we were recording, but like I want to make my splash in Vegas. I I'm nowhere near the shape I want to be. So maybe I'll push it off till the Sacramento show, which is a little 2 weeks later. Because right now I'm
Mhm.
9 weeks out, and like I don't look 9 weeks out. So like something I'll have to come to terms with, unless Ty can get me really, really peeled in 9 weeks. But
Mhm.
I'd like to show the judges what I look like naturally.
Mhm.
And then, kind of like my working idea is like just do like a test probe for,
Mhm.
I don't know how long the cycles are, but like a modest one, and then come off and then see what happens. But
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't have any like Jay Cutler dreams. Like I just want to see what I can do in a healthy way, the
Yeah.
most healthy way.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, definitely do it naturally, whatever show that you can get into in that time frame.
Yep.
And that's your standard at that point. That's your
Yes.
standard. And then anything that you can do ahead of that is a win.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, that's how I try to think in terms of anything. So, okay, we took seventh place at this show. We can I do better next time? I don't know if I'm going to do the show again, but I'm saying if I did do it, my mind says, can I beat seventh?
Mm-hmm.
If I took fifth at the USA, if I did that again, can I come in better and can I have go to fourth?
Well, the judges know your face now, that first call out. So that's got to mean something.
Right. And that's and that is always good. But I try to think in small scopes and not think of the grand thing of you have to take first. I think that people get overwhelmed when they start thinking that way. And in reality, there's a lot of different positions or placings that you can get that are successes.
Yeah.
The guy who should have the most pressure on him going into a show is the guy who took second last year and he's doing the show again.
Yes.
He's only got one spot that he can do that's a success. If he takes second again, he's not successful. He gets worse, it's even worse. But he's the one who should be worrying the most. And but if you last year I didn't place at North Americans. I got waxed in the heavyweights.
Yeah.
And so when I was coming into it, I was like, your job is just to do better than you did there. Both look and get a placing, get any placing recorded at that point. And that's and we did. So I'm not mad. I was a little disappointed. I thought I was gonna be higher, but that was stung for a second, and then I was right back at it.
Right. Okay. Well, I appreciate you giving me that insight. I'm gonna think through it. Training philosophy. What's your idea on training? 5 days a week, 6 days a week, push pull legs, pro split.
I'm definitely a bro split guy. I do 4 days a week in the off season because I like 3 days of recovery. I'm big into that. I do 5 in a prep, and I do low volume and high intensity. Basically, kind of like a Dorian Yates type thing. Everything comes down to that one set. So if you look at my logbook, there's only like one work. There's only like 4 or 5 working sets for the entire workout, and the rest is either warm-ups or feeler sets where it's like 3 to 4 reps of like a decent weight just to feel it, to bridge the gap between your warm-up and that top set. And then that top set is the only one that counts. So you have to put all your energy into that. I'm not big into doing back offs. If I do a back off set, it means I screwed something up in the top set.
I hate back off sets. But people keep telling me as a natural, you want to volumize the muscle to aid in the active recovery. So I always have my log looks just like yours. I have my one working set. I don't record the feeder sets, and then I'll have a back off set. But that's all I record.
I don't. What I'll do is if it's a certain thing, if I feel my recovery is good, and I'm at a certain point, I might do two working sets, but they're all out. And obviously a second set has less reps. So if I hit a hack squat and it's 15 reps on the top set, I might be able to get 8 to 10 on that second of the same weight.
Okay.
And if I go backwards 2 weeks in a row, that motion comes out. That's when I know to pull it out and put something else in. So if I'm doing barbell rows and if I screw up
such a smart idea. Yeah.
Like I don't change the movements. The workout stays the same. I'll like pull out barbell rows and I'll put in a dumbbell row as a power exercise. If I'm
Hmm.
doing rack pulls, if on back and hand day, and I'm going backwards on it, well then the dumbbell RDLs might be coming in for that hinge movement.
Okay.
So I won't do both. That's stupid.
Right.
So it's a lot of make their set count and then get the hell out of the gym. I
Right.
used to be the opposite. I used to be in there for like the crazy pumps, and if I had to be like so swollen, and I didn't care what I lifted or how many reps I did. It was like, you'd be doing like run. You know how people run the rack with like lateral raises? They started at fives and they go to tens. Like that's stupid.
I used to do it. Yeah. I remember
I
it.
used to do it all the time. I used to do 30 sets for biceps. Why? I didn't know. Or then the God forbid when people start doing, I'm going to train quads twice in a week.
Oh.
You gave yourself no recovery. If you're beating yourself up, if I beat myself up on quads on Monday, it's not good to go until Monday the next week.
Hmm.
And I don't want to even think about doing anything on quads until then.
Right.
So I think that some people go just a little too easy, but then
Oh.
they, but then they're doing too much volume, so they're not recovering. They think they are, but they're not.
Hmm.
Um, Especially natural lifters need to really focus on that because recovery is everything. They don't have the extra help in the recovery department. That's what steroids are. They help assist in recovery and repair,
Hmm.
and then of course then the fibers build bigger. And if you don't have that help, then you really need to pay attention to like what you're doing rather than like people just think that, well, if they lift more in the gym, they're gonna make more, they're gonna get bigger. You're gonna be more sore, which is not a good indication if you're growing or not. It
Hmm.
means you're breaking everything harder.
Yeah.
So these are all, and I hope the listeners to realize these are amateur mistakes, but we all made them.
Yes.
It took me lifting from 2006 to realize this just last year. I had my
Hmm.
best off season last year, so that's why I'm excited for this one. And I didn't really, I progressed, but like I really progressed last year because I paid attention to my recovery. I paid attention to looking at something. That doesn't make any sense. And in my logbook, I said that doesn't make any sense to put that there. You're doing. You don't need to do two lat pull downs. You just got the job done on the one lat pull down. What the hell are you doing with this motion? You
Mm.
know, or why are you putting this cable motion here, and then you're doing a machine over here? It's both the same body part.
Hmm.
Or doing you know giant sets for everything. I don't know. That doesn't make those intensifiers really aren't needed 100%.
Hmm.
And then for me, I definitely take those out when I'm prepping and eating less food because
Hmm.
because when you're getting ready for a show, your main job is fat loss. If you're destroying your recovery, you're fatiguing yourself beyond belief in the gym, your
Hmm.
body says, I got to recover from this. Fuck the fat loss. And it halts it. Your job in
Hmm.
prep when you're eating less food is just stimulate and get out. Don't disrupt your fat loss under any circumstances. You don't want to, especially at the end of prep, be taking sets to failure or beyond failure is even worse. So like no like forced reps from your workout partner, nothing like that. I leave 2 reps in reserve. So I'm still training hard,
Hmm.
but 2 reps in reserve where I can rack the weight myself in prep. Now, off season, when I'm in full swing and I got a partner with me, then we might force a 1 or 2 reps at the end. And then in
Hmm.
my logbook, I put plus 1 or 2, that's okay because you're feeding through the roof at that point.
Hmm.
But these are all things that I learned in the last year. Again, I was like 15 years in the game before somebody like pointed this out to me.
Okay.
Before that, I was just 86 sets of this and that. And, we're doing dumbbell curl, then barbell curl. Why? Pick one of them. They're doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's funny. It makes me think of like because I feel like you're preaching to me. Because I feel when I get on prep, I'm more focused and I'm more methodical on my training. So I go to like that next echelons of like mental um ability when I'm training. Like I'm always on a leg press. Like as soon as I get done, I have to rack it. I have to lay there for a second after I pass out, come back around, and then just think about breathing for like a minute before I get up.
Mhm.
Whereas like
I
when
don't,
I'm in the off season, I'm never that serious.
well, I don't believe in making your prep workouts like a snoozer. I
Mhm.
don't think it's like you shouldn't be going easy. It should be hard, but you shouldn't be like climbing out of the hack spot because you got pinned under it. You
Oh
know,
no, no, no.
in the off season, it's okay if that happens and the safeties catch you and you took it to absolute failure
Mhm.
because you're going to be eating 70 grams of carbs and all this and your body fat's higher and everything's working a little bit better at that point. But when fat loss is your goal, the body doesn't like having high cortisol for fat loss.
Mhm.
If you stress your CNS out to no
Right.
end, cortisol gets spiked. Fat loss down. No
Yeah.
good. No good. So like
Jeez.
my buddy explained to me, he goes, you can either do it the right way or you can be a meathead and leave it all on the gym floor, because I was a hard worker. I
Mhm.
knew I was tough enough to do those workouts. And even when I felt like shit to grind it out. But my buddies told me, he goes, you just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. He goes, you want to be a meathead and lose this show, or do you want to have your best look and do it right way? I said, well, obviously the second option. So I started to focus more on what the hell I was doing. That's why I have the notebook,
Right.
which I used to make fun of the guys with the notebooks. I go, look, what the he can't remember his stuff. What is he writing down? I'm almost making them sound like they were nerds. And listen, you can't remember what you did the week before.
Right.
You think you can, but you can't. You don't have to carry a notebook. You can do it in your phone. I'm old school, so I like to write it with pen and paper.
Same.
But people do it with their phone, and then they maybe put it on an Excel spreadsheet on their laptop or something like that. After I don't really like to do it. I don't like Excel, but like I said, I like to just to write it down, cross it out, old school manner,
Mhm.
and then that's where I'm at with that.
Okay. Hmm. I like bro splits, or Fuad calls them pro splits. But yeah, I
Yeah,
like
process.
that's how I've always trained. I tried doing the
Mhm.
push pull legs. I just felt like I didn't recover enough because I
And
do.
the specialization is not high.
Yeah,
If
no,
you're
for
doing if you're
real.
doing
Yeah,
if you're doing a push day, okay, what do you get? One chest push, one shoulder push,
yeah.
and then what? Two,
Maybe a pec
like,
fly,
and then you're done. What about
maybe some
triceps?
laterals. Yeah,
Right. What about triceps? What about rear delts?
rear delts.
How long's that workout going to be? I know the workout's not supposed to be long, so it's like, well, then I just feel like you're missing a ton of angles
Yeah,
in there. I'm not saying that you need to do a lot in the gym, but the angles need to at least be completed.
mhm,
So I like a little bit more specialization.
right. And that's the sport we're in. We're not in strength training, weightlifting. We're bodybuilding. We're trying to build our body to what we want to see it look like.
I think the push pull legs came out just because people were tired. They were just looking for something else.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah.
were just looking for another, like, well, the bro split didn't work for me. Well, there's 1,000 reasons why it didn't work for you. Maybe you weren't being tense. Maybe you were doing too much stuff. There's 1,000 reasons. People always want like the split knowledge, and the split really doesn't matter as long as maybe the days that you're lining up with each other, may not make sense.
Mhm.
Like I wouldn't put back day right after leg day.
No,
Now you got two, like that doesn't make sense to me. But if you pair biceps and back, that's fine. If you want to have an arm day as one of these, it's fine. So people like I think overthink that. And I think most people are knowledgeable enough not to like that, like don't do legs and back together.
yep. Yeah,
And
give
I
your
don't really
spine a
see
break.
right.
Yeah, that's kind of, yeah. I'll do that. So I'll before we switch over to nutrition, and then I'll let you go because I know we're taking a while. Like my split is I'll do glute ham, and then I'll do what chest, and then I'll do shoulder. No, chest, and then I'll do an upper back. So all pulling from above, and then I'll do shoulders and arms, and then I'll do a lower pull. So like T-bar rows or anything from the ground. And
Mm.
then I'll do my quad day. So I'm sure it's not optimal, but like that's what I've been
How many
doing
days is that?
6 days a week.
If you're trying to get bigger, I'd lower that
Yeah.
to 5. It's just a lot of calories burned.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm saying that's just where I would be there. Because I do 4 when I'm trying to get bigger.
And how much time do you
I
spend in the
like
gym?
an hour and a half.
Same. Yeah.
I like
4 days a
training
week.
too, so it kills me to take
Yeah.
those off days.
Today's
I'm
my
not
off
going to
day.
the
I'm
gym.
dying.
I'm off, and I'm fresh off a show. You know how motivating that is when you know how it is when you come off and you're. I want to be in the gym. I was actually mad that I was like not going. I'll be there tomorrow, but like it's like, and then Monday's off again, and then I have Tuesday and Wednesday on. So it's like, you know, it's just how it is. If you want to do it right or you don't. So I mean, think about it. I'm not telling you what to do. Think about it. If you want to go to 5 or something like that, it might help you.
Yeah. I mean, every time I talk to somebody who knows what they're doing, they always say take more breaks. I just hate
Yeah,
taking time off because like the
I
gym
know.
is like that grounding piece of the day where I can
Yeah,
uh yeah.
yeah, it's tough. I look forward to cardio in the morning. I have the bike and treadmill in the house,
Yep.
but like I just have to do something. I don't know. I'm like that.
Yeah.
I can't just be a regular Joe.
Mhm. No, I'm there. I look forward to my morning walks. Well,
Mhm.
actually, I look forward to it so much. I drive to the gym just so I can put an iPad on the treadmill, and so I could just watch a podcast while I'm doing my walk instead of
Yeah,
like I live on a military base. Like I can just walk down a 2 mile strip and like a mile down, mile back, and like no worries. Like, I could just do that, but I want to have that time where I can feed my brain and just
I
enjoy it.
I do cardio, but then I also keep a step count, so I'm always walking the neighborhood. Like I only have 1,000 steps right now. I'll eat another meal after we're done, and I'll probably go do another 1,000 steps, which isn't long. It's like 10 minutes of walking,
Yeah.
and I'm just always constantly doing that. It helps digestion, and you're burning calories through NEAT. You're not
Yep.
really like you're not cranking it. That's one of the biggest things for conditioning. Stay moving. Everybody thinks like they just need to do their cardio and train and like chill on the couch. Don't chill.
Mhm.
Stay moving, but don't do fatiguing shit. Don't go play a full court basketball game, while you're in prep. But go for a walk. Go walk around the mall. Do something. Keep the count on your watch or where you do
Yep.
it, and you'll see that you'll start to lean up faster without doing 2 hours of actual cardio.
Yeah.
It works.
Yep. Ty was telling me to because he's helping me for the show. He's like, hey man, like you got to at least double your steps. Cause like I work an office job, so I'm just sitting there working on computers all day.
How
He's
many are you
like,
getting?
I'm trying to get 7,000 right now. I was
So
at
you were
like
doing like
25.
yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
I got up to 11,000, not including cardio.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I had to try you had to try to
Yeah.
do that. I just lowered it to 10, and then I'll start to slowly scale it back as off season begins, and then I'll
Okay.
probably keep it around 6 in the off season. We'll see how that goes, and then we'll go like 6 is easy for me though.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned the walking after a meal because Ty talked about that too, like how it helps with digestion, getting the blood
Mhm.
moving. So
Mhm.
that validates that knowledge.
Mhm.
Last thing, nutrition.
Okay.
What do you think about food? Are you more of like a high protein, high carb, or like high protein, low carb, or
I
six
train with
meals a
Dave 6 meals a day, and I train with Dave Palumbo, so he's big into the healthy fats.
Yep.
We eat carbs the whole time though through prep though because I was burning through,
Mm-hmm.
but there was fats in every meal. And I'm not like 700-800 grams of carb guy. I don't have that body. When I say a lot, I meant like a big day for me was like protein and fat, and then 360 grams of carbs. And there was days that 180 grams of carbs. In the beginning, when I was losing all the fat, there was some days that were zero carb, and followed by a day that was about 300 carbs, but no fat
Mm-hmm.
or lower fat. So it was like a rotational type thing. By the end, when my metabolism was cranked, it was the same protein fat, which is about 360 protein, 110 fat, and then we were adding different denominations of carbs.
Okay.
So it was high at the end.
Okay. What's your go-to meal in prep? Well, what's your go-to meal in prep and then in the off season?
Prep, my favorite meal was 9 ounces of chicken, usually 60 grams of carbs from rice, and then about 1.2 ounces of cashews, or
Mm,
120 grams of avocado. That
mm,
was, and I mean, I like that. It was a bigger meal. Um, and then off season, it's going to be kind of the same. Less rice. He's about 40 grams of carbs, but that's also because there's more fat
okay.
circled around. There might be like an entire avocado, which is
Wow.
like more than 120 grams. So it's like
Yeah.
um, in off season. To be honest with you, Dave's diet didn't change much. The
Okay.
cardio got raised up, but all we did was kickstart my metabolism, and the fat started coming off. It was a lot of the carb cycling that really ramped it.
Yeah.
The back and
Okay.
forth between the pro carbs, pro fat. The off season had like waxy maize in around training and stuff like that. That came out when I started prepping, and it was staying leaner. I stayed to 270 this off season. When I hit 277 and was bloated, and he was like, "Fuck no."
Yeah.
He goes, we are not doing this again." Because when I came to him, I was like 305. That was in March of 2020 when the
Okay.
pandemic hit, and he was like, This is at it. This is unacceptable." And we
Mhm.
prepped, and then I stayed with him in the off season, and he made sure that like I was on the right diet, and he was watching me, and everything was good, and of course I was training well at that point, and it was just a whole different approach.
Okay. So, and you're relatively new with Dave then? You said like 2020?
2020, so it's like a year and a half at this point.
Okay. Do you think that's a big reason why you had such a good off season?
Yeah, because I felt very secure with Dave, meaning I knew what he was seeing is what was really happening, so
Yes.
I respected his advice. I think his interpretation of your physique is very good. He knows when you're flat. He knows when you're full. He knows when you're getting too far out of control. He knows when you're insulin resistant. He could look at you and go, "Your gear's not that good," just
Mhm.
based on like what was happening.
Yeah.
So
Gear testing kits. Yep.
yeah, right. So I trusted him that it wasn't a guessing game, and I trusted his opinion, and then I hauled off on the training, and that's where the progress happened.
Mhm.
But his diets aren't like magic.
Right.
Some people expect their coaches to be like a magician. You know, we're gonna do this, and you're gonna mix peanut butter and almond butter, and this and that, and then like they complicate it, and it's not right.
Mhm.
So it's that you can't expect. They're just there to set the outline for you. Then you're gonna have to do the work.
Yes. Yep. That's, yeah. All right, man. I don't know how long this one's been. I could go another hour, but like I still have to finish my chicken from before we even started.
I hear
Oh,
you.
my diet right now is
Oh,
four meals of 8 ounces of chicken breast, and then like four rice cakes and some protein shakes. That's my diet.
I'll be starving.
I
Starving.
hate it. I hurt. Everything hurts. But
All right. What do you?
I've dropped going on 30 pounds now since I started like coming down. So
Are you hungry?
I'm so hungry.
When
I
you make your
drink
protein shakes, what's in your protein shake?
50 grams protein, 7 carbs, 2 fat,
You don't mix anything. It's just a shake and water.
shake and water.
Try using a magic bullet. Put a ton of ice in there. Put your protein powder in there, and make kind of like an ice cream out of it.
Ooh. Yeah.
You got to use a lot of ice and a very little amount of water, and it will make it very thick. And then you eat it with a spoon. It will help you.
Okay.
I haven't drank a protein shake in forever. I sit there and
Interesting.
eat it like a little ice cream frosty.
Okay, because I've seen people do the pudding, and I was like, that's so smart, but like, I'm so lazy. Like, I just never have
Dude,
done it.
It's like it's a little bit of enjoyment
Yeah.
for because otherwise you're gonna be like, oh, I just have a shake, and then you're gonna do it like now I gotta wait 2 more hours. Like it's like
Yep.
try that out. It helped me a lot.
Okay. Because I mean, the plan is like to still drop another. We're 9 weeks, and I want to cut like maybe 2 or 3 pounds a week, and
Mhm.
hopefully, I show up. We'll see. We'll see.
You'll be fine. Just have confidence in the plan and stay positive because that'll keep your cortisol down.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a pretty positive person, so I
Great.
enjoy the process. But Gary, man, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you taking the time to, share a little bit more about you beyond the stage. I saw you did an interview with that guy behind the muscle. I thought that was a really cool.
Yeah.
So
I met him just that day, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It looks like a smaller channel, so I already reached out to him, but yeah.
I'm very happy that you reached out to me. It meant a lot that you did and everything. I'm glad we worked at a time. I know it was like we were trying to figure something out before North Americans and whatnot, but I'm glad we got it right after.
Yeah, it's good, man. Hopefully we can get you back on here.
Give you whenever you want.
Give us an update on your off season, or we have a show called Rising Star where we talk about some of the up and coming NPC competitors. I'd love to get you and Ty maybe on the show, so two heavyweights, and talk about like other heavyweights or super heavyweights that you guys see coming up in the ranks.
Absolutely, you let me know and I'll be there.
All right, man. Hey Gary, I appreciate it. This is your time if you want to plug anything. Obviously, Animal.
Yep. Well, if anybody want to reach me personally, my Instagram is the_real_GSIX. Send me a DM. I answer everything. I'm always on there. I answer that other inbox also that nobody answers. I will see your message. I will answer you. If you're interested in Animal, it's animalpak.com. That's our website. You can go over there. I'm also sponsored with Live Large clothing company. Their website is livelargefitness.com. They're also on Instagram. And Coronado's cleancuisine.com. That's my meal sponsor. If you're in New Jersey, in like central Jersey, they'll be able to deliver it to you. If you're not, it's probably not going to work out for you, but I want to give them a shout out as well. They've been taking care of me on all my meats and everything like that for about 2 years now. So I'm very thankful for that. But as I said, I was very happy that you thought of me to come on here, and let's do it again soon.
Yeah, absolutely, Gary. Appreciate it, man. Look forward to you coming back on. Hopefully we can get you and Ty on for a Rising Star episode.
Awesome, man.
All right, guys. That's another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network. Specifically, I don't know what I'm going to call this interview series. Maybe like, I guess, Behind the Muscle is taken. So we'll figure out the name for this show. But this is Gary Turner, NPC Super Heavyweight, and we'll see you guys in the next one. All right, man. Not too painful, right?
Yeah.